Guys, there's a beautiful thing about a brand new game. There's some pros and there's some cons, and I'm going to go through with you as a gamer who doesn't have a lot of time, dad gamers, if you work a lot, if you're busy all the time, if you got kids, whatever it is, what do you need to start a new season in PoE 2? And I want to go over some of the essentials that I keep open in tabs every single time, things that I'm checking on, things that I have open, etc. So the first thing is the most important thing is if you don't watch Maxroll or you don't aren't familiar with it, maxroll.gg, best site I can recommend hands down. Okay, so any ARPG you have, it's a great place to start. So the big one though for PoE2 is you're going to go to resources. I'm sorry, not resource. Getting started and campaign stat bonuses. This is where I'm at, right? So if I click that, campaign stat bonuses. Now the reason you want this page, okay, is because it summarizes everywhere that you need to go. All right. So basically, when you look at this, you want this is the screen that you want open. Okay. Now, if you have multiple monitors, on your second monitor, split your favorite streamer and this, because what you're looking for is right here. You want to know in which zones do I get bonuses, act 1 through 3, act 1 through 3 cruel, etc., etc. They will add these as the game continues to come out, and you want to follow these because the biggest thing is you don't want to miss these, because when you have to go back through, go research, find all the stuff, it's just a ton of time wasted that you could be playing and actually doing fun stuff. So the funnest time to do all this stuff is obviously when you're at level as you're going through it, because of the fact that you're obviously going to get the most benefit out of it, but you're already doing the content anyways. You're going through it. It'll help you stay ahead of the leveling a little bit. So always do it as you start the season. Now, if you're one of those Uber, like I'm going for the speediest, speed clear. I don't know if you're doing this. I don't know. I don't care. That's not who this video is for, obviously, because I'm not that guy. So I keep this open. That way, as I'm going through Act 1, I go, oh, I'm going into Freyhorn. Oh, this guy gives me spirit. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm going into the manor. Oh, this guy gives me max life, right? Same thing with Act 2. It tells you the zone. So when you see the zone, right? Like before, as you switch acts. So like after you kill the werewolf guy, you get into Act Two. You just scroll down to Act Two and you go, okay, Keth, Bone Pits, Valley, right? You just say them out loud one time, and then that way when you're looking over, you're gonna go, oh yeah, wasn't there something in here, or what am I missing, et cetera? Because these are all huge bonuses, right? So Act Two, you get 4 passive skill points, right? Like that's huge. So make sure that we're doing that. Now, same thing with Act 3. You got some more spirit, some skill points, fire res, blah, right? And it'll just keep going all the way through. So that is the most important thing, is have this up from Maxroll. It is a great guide, and it's all summarized in one page. You scroll down as you level, super easy. The second thing I would recommend doing is if you're following a build, and this isn't going to pertain to obviously patch 0.2 so much because they literally just broke the whole game. They haven't released all the damage information yet. They just released the patch notes, and the patch notes just basically went hammer fist on all the shit you want to do, right? So, and they didn't release any of the damage stuff, and they said they just couldn't. It was too much, right? The ascendancy tree or the passive skill tree, they have not released the new one. They've given us some hints of where some things might be, but we don't know how many things are going to be adjusted, what's going to be adjusted. So POB is out. Don't have a POB. Don't follow a POB in point two. But most of the time, like especially with Path of Exile 1, if that's going to be any indication of Path of Exile 2, once we get the full release of the game, there's going to be people who see league after league can create some cookie cutter good league starter builds, right? So when you're looking at builds, if you're a noob, league starter build is what you want. And you want something with a leveling guide. Again, you can go to Maxroll. All of these are going to be out of date, right? But typically, if you go to Maxroll and you say, okay, I want to play a ranger and I need something for leveling, right? It'll show you, okay, gas grenade leveling Deadeye, gas arrow Deadeye, Pathfinder, it's got options for you based on every class, right? If I go sorceress, okay, I got options every class, right? And it'll tell you when it was last updated. So that's the other cool thing too, is it'll kind of let you know if like, oh, this is going to be good for the new season, or this is not updated for the new league coming out. So if you need leveling guides, I definitely recommend Maxroll 2. But Path of Building, for once the game is kind of established, is these guys will upload Path of Buildings, and typically in the Path of Buildings they'll have it set up so that you can check it out. The cool thing with Maxroll that I really like, and I'm going to hope that I pick a good one here, but a lot of the creators will do this. So this is a great example, right? Act 1, here's your skills. Act 2, here's your skills. 3, 6, right? Archmage swap, blah, 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 blah. But what I personally love is this. So when you open up, hopefully this is a good one, right? So you can scroll back through the points, right? You can see all of this stuff, right? So like you go all the way back. Okay, this is how we're leveling. We're going here, then 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 we're going here, right? Like, and you could just kind of go through and see exactly how they're going to level and in what order so that you can get the best result. So that's one of the reasons that I like Maxroll guides. But a lot of the YouTube people, so if you want to follow like a YouTuber, etc., they will make a POB and you can just go grab their POB and you download Path of Building here and it'll tell you, it'll ask you which one you want to download. Make sure you download for the right game, guys. Don't be a dumb, be a smart. Okay, be a smart. And that's Path of Building. That's another one. The other thing that you want to look for. Now, again, if you're going into point 2, who knows, right? But typically within 3 to 5 days, Neversink has his filter up, right? For most people, when you're starting, you don't need a filter until you get into like, Acts 3, maybe even into Cruel, and then you can start to put a filter on. But it'll obviously just hide crap you typically don't need anymore. It'll clean up your, the map having just puke all over it of a bunch of worthless stuff that you don't want anyway. You can change the color of it, et cetera, et cetera. So filterblade.xyz, always grab that for filters. The only thing you want to check is, again, make sure this drop-down menu is for the correct one, right? You sign in, you link your account, you're good. The trade site. Obviously, at league start, this is a great way. So here's the one tip I would give you guys that if you're not doing, you should do. And you should do this every time, is anytime you get an Exalted Orb, save the Exalted Orb. Okay? What happens typically, and this is the same with Chaos Orbs in PoE 1, right? Is as you start to level and as you feel like your gear starts to fall behind, you are way better off taking 5 minutes, going into PoE, right? Making sure it's on whatever you're supposed to be on PoE 2. And if I need a bow, right, I'm going to go bow, and I need it to have fizz, and I need it to have, right, like, and again, I'm not going to go through and figure out exactly what all this is, right? Oh, I want it to have double fizz, right? Like, I don't even think this will pop up. Yeah, because I had put something in wrong, but let's just do this. Oh, I want fizz, and I want lightning, and I want crit. Okay, cool. Ooh, this is one orb of augmentation, right? But typically, if you put it at an Exalted Orb, especially within the first day or two, you can get way better shit. And here's what I want you to remember, okay? Is if you were to make this yourself, A, you don't know what you're going to get, and 2, so this would cost, right, trans whatever orb, an augment orb, a regal orb, 1, 2 exalted orbs to get this. So it would cost you 15 times more to just buy this than it would be to create it, right? And this is for an augmentation, right? So obviously you can set the max price down here, right? So if I put exalted orb, right, and I put the max of 1 and I put a min of 1, right, that'll show me kind of who's got shit priced for an exalted orb, right? And again, this is the big thing, is if you're playing SSF, this doesn't help you at all. But this, right, like, oh, fizz, fire, accuracy, crit, level to projectile, okay. Is that better than what I have? Significantly, right? And like, you can even put in what level you are, right? So requirements, the maximum level is I'm level 19, right? Okay. So what's the best bow I can get at level 19? Oh, well, this one's got double socketed. This one's got 2 runes in it. This one's got 4% quality on it. It's got fizz, it's got crit damage, attack speed, dex, right? And you're probably using something completely terrible. So whenever you get an exalted orb, I would always recommend, if you can, all right, and you can even sort these by DPS, right? So if I go down here, click on DPS, obviously I don't want that, but I can go here and say, oh, okay, this one's got blah, 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 and I'm playing a lightning build. Okay, great. One exalted, I get 79.2 DPS. Awesome. Cool. Now, this is the last thing I would do. I would go grab Sidekick, install it, and this is how you basically do price checking as you go through the game. So an easy way once you start is if you just open a stash tab and you make like a one exalted orb stash tab. Anytime you get something that's pretty decent or a unique drops or anything, like just throw it in there. Throw it in there for one and start to accumulate those exalted orbs. Because again, early on in the league when you first launch and it's a economy reset, that's really what you're going to be trading on. You're going to have a lot of people who they're going to build out gear and then they're going to go, okay, I replace that with this. Okay, I'm going to throw it in my one exalt tab, right? And then that's how you build your initial gear. And what this will do is obviously if you can get, you might be wearing a blue belt with one thing on it, and then you get an exalted orb and you get a belt with 6 things on it, right? We use the Elon terms here. You get a belt with 6 things. Big upgrade, right? That is one of the best things that you can do. So I always tell people whenever they come watch the stream or whenever I'm talking to them in YouTube comments or etc., I'm like, dude, when you start a league, save those exalted orbs. And as you start to feel like you're falling behind, you're not overpowered in damage, go on the trade site, take 5 minutes when you're, after you complete a quest, you port back to town, you're sitting in town anyway, go check it out, see what you can find. It's going to be a vastly larger upgrade and it's going to save you most of your currency. Because remember, like for this, all of these runes cost currency. To actually build this from a white, right, you would need the transmogrification orb, the augmentation orb, a regal orb, and an exalt orb to get to this point right here, right? So that's the hard part. And the problem is what happens is people start to drop exalted orbs, right? And what they'll do is they'll have this bow and then they'll go, oh, well, I've already got like a pretty decent bow. I'm just going to drop my exalteds in here, right? And I can put 2 more modifiers on this. So for 2 more exalteds, I can get 6 mod bow. Yeah, that's true. And you might roll something good. You might get lucky. But remember, you're leveling, right? You're starting out. And there's going to be people who level a lot faster than you. Because remember, this video is not made for the God Gamer or for the 13-hour first day streamer or the 28-hour, we're not doing Woody Joe style fucking gameplay here, guys. We're doing how to be the most efficient for the least amount of time and money. So save your exalted orbs, and then as you get them, just keep leveling up pieces of gear whenever even if you say, okay, I'm going to farm till I get 3 or 4 exalted orbs. And then I'm going to go upgrade the shit out of my gear, right? You level 4, 5, 6 times. So now you got more shit unlocked. You change your level up here, right? We go back through. Okay, now I'm level 27. Okay, what do we got? And we sort by DPS. Ooh, there's a 90 DPS for 1 exalt, right? Okay, cool. This one's got double lightning on it. This one's got fizz fire. Okay, this one kind of sucks, but that one's okay. That one's got some dex on it. Okay, we'll try this one, right? And like these are the things that you can do instead of hoping that you don't get light radius and accuracy on your bow or whatever the skills that you like, whatever the dead skills are for your build, right? And you can make this as obviously as you can spend as much time as this you want, but typically what I'll do is I'll say, okay, I'm playing this build, so I'm going to look for fizz, lightning, and dex, and attack speed or projectiles, and I'll just put all those stats in here. I'll take 5-10 minutes, do that for a couple of pieces of my gear, spend all my exalts, get all my gear, and then I'm literally, when I go back in, I'm a god, right? And I can clear pretty much the whole act, walk through it, no problem, super fast, and super efficient. Right? It doesn't take me that long to do anything when you do it this way. The problem that most people are going to have is they're going to start to get greedy, right? They're going to start to throw those exalteds and gamble. They're going to start to add that quality to low-end armor or things like that, right? Like there's ways around doing all of that. Obviously, doing upgrading your weapon quality is pretty big for your DPS. But everything else, like save, 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 save. Because remember, once you get into maps, that's when you're going to want all that currency. And especially when you start a league, okay, when you start a league, that is the worst time to not have currency. Because when you get into maps and you get to that sticking point, and you could have literally just gone into PoE2 and you're starting to build out your shit. You got all your stuff for your campaign stat bonuses. You're running through maps. You're trying to upgrade to the next one, and you run out of currency, and you've got one exalted orb, and now you're stuck at tier 6, right? So you're either going to spend the next 4 hours in there trying to farm enough shit, or you can say, okay, cool, this is where I'm at now. Let me look through my pieces. What's my big upgrades? What can I get? Do I need jeweler's orbs? Do I need whatever, right? That is how you do this. So trust me, guys, from somebody who plays every ARPG, basically when it comes out, and I don't have a ton of time to play it, this has been my best strategy: is make sure I have any cheat sheets that I need open. And I typically go to Maxroll for those. I make sure I have my build guide open. I make sure I've got my item filter, I've got my trade site, and I've got my price checker. And if you're doing that basically on any ARPG, right, you're gonna be okay, right? As long as you're playing standard league, and that's what 90% of people play. So obviously, if you're a solo self-found Andy, this isn't for you. But everyone else, if you're a noob gamer or you're a dad gamer or you're a busy gamer and you want to have time to play the game, but you want to be as efficient and have as much fun as possible, I recommend following these tips. It's worked for me every league since I started playing PoE, and I know nothing about the game. Like, I am a complete idiot, but I can follow directions pretty well. And to be honest, it's a lot of fun for me to do so. So, hope this helps you guys, and we will see you at